night, and they have a young girl with them. If you hear a little voice, that's her. And if someone starts coming down the stairs with suitcases, you'll know because they're leaving this morning at some point. So, thank you for coming and for filling up every chair we have in the house. Just about. We've got more chairs in here than I knew we had. So, and still there are some people standing. So, I guess I want to say a little bit about the inn, and we have a more historic person than I am here in the form of Shirley Hines, who has more experience here than I do, because she worked here for many years some time ago. Ruth and I have been here 2 years and a couple of months now, 3 months, so we're fairly new. We came here from Mequon. We ran a 4-room bed and breakfast in a farmhouse in Mequon. It was called the Gressley House. And we're looking for a bigger place that had better financial activity than 4 rooms. 4 rooms don't pay for themselves, so we were looking for rooms that pay for themselves. And I've been on the board of directors of the Wisconsin Bed and Breakfast Association for a number of years, and I knew about Pine Terrace, but I had never been out here. And when we came to look, we liked what we saw, and we perceived that the owners were motivated sellers, as the saying goes. So we were happy to be able to make a deal and get here. Oconomowoc was, to us, an interstate exit on the way to Madison. And literally the first time we came to town was when we came to look here. So we have enjoyed our time here so far, and we'll continue to. I know we've gotten to know a lot of people in town, a lot of the folks that are in Pine Terrace here. A great community, and we're very happy to be a part of the community. So, the Inn has been here a lot longer than us, of course, and let me just briefly go through the highlights of the history. And honestly, I'm going to be reciting or recalling what I've read in the various little blurbs that exist around about the inn. I can add a few things, but perhaps this will be old news to some of you. But the inn was originally built as a private residence. It was one of the summer homes that were built around the lakes here by a family from Chicago. And the way I put it is, it was a summer home for a rich guy from Chicago. And they were brothers, actually, but the family stayed here for, during the summer, everybody would move up. They'd come up on the train, and the family would stay here, and the men went back and forth to Chicago on the train to work. And this was their get out of the city place. It was their residence for about 40 years, and sometime in the early 20s, the inn was sold, and I believe there was one owner for a short period of time, and then a family bought it, Mrs. Ziebelman, perhaps some of you have heard that name, and they owned the inn and ran a resort, Pine Terrace Resort, for up I think until into the 60s, perhaps, actively.
Later than that, my husband's grandmother owned this inn as Mississippi. She was Mississippi.
Ah.
Oh.
Well, until when?
In the early 80s.
Okay. That was, and then it changed hands and was remodeled at that point. Okay. Well, see, Mrs. Ebel had the resort here. It had there were cabins on the property. Of course, was grass open all the way down to the lake, and she had a restaurant downstairs. I believe that was open to the public. kosher kitchen. So the inn was a popular, well-known place for Jewish people to come and vacation. And I think she was somewhat of a fixture in the area for a long time here. Coincidentally, the fellow that sold me, when we opened the Gressley House in Mequon, and I bought a credit card processing system. It happened to be from Associated Bank. Jeff Siebelman?
Yeah, that would be my husband.
Sold me, and I always remembered his name because it was interesting, and we actually had some difficulty. So I remembered his name because of that. But it wasn't bad. But I just, sometimes things stick with you. And I thought it was ironic that we should wind up in a place that he had an attachment to. I have to talk to him because I'd like to be able to get in touch with him and talk to him. I think it'd be a kick to do that. So
one of the sons, when his uncle was still alive too, so you could talk to someone who lived here.
There have been a lot of people here who have some connection. As I say, old guys like me that worked here when they were bus boys when they were 15, and 50 years ago. But anyway, so the Siebelmans were here, and then I understand that there was the plan, I guess, was to raise this building and complete the condo property here with some, this would have been the last property that condos were built on. And somehow it came up that it could be preserved, and there was an investment company, technically, but a couple of guys in the area that owned some other inns who bought the place and did a big renovation and kind of reopened it as the Inn of Pine Terrace. Kind of more in the bed and breakfast model than the resort. People would stay in a resort, you would stay a week or two at a time versus a night or two typically at a B&B. So the second, third floor where most of the bedrooms are was totally redone, gutted, and new infrastructure, plumbing and fixtures and electrical, everything was installed. This floor was done, the decor was done, the wallpaper and windows, I think, are new here. And much of the woodwork is original on this floor, the doors and the floor and the mantle, the wainscoting and stuff like that. I've seen an article from a newspaper written, the article was written at the time the house was built that refers to the etched glass in the doors. So I'm sure that's original. There's one piece missing on the front door there. If anybody knows where that is, I'd be happy. It's probably in the trash. It was smashed. Yeah. But upstairs is all new, and downstairs has been modified quite a bit. The dining room is an '85 era, but the rest of the stuff we've done some work downstairs and what have you. Originally there were two rooms over there where the double doors are. They were parlors, and the room on that side was called a library in this article. Those, for the last several decades, have been the owner's suite. It's kind of my term, but I think Mrs. Siebelman lived in there, and some of the owners of the bed and breakfast lived there also. Ruth and I lived there for a while when we first moved in, but we've since made space downstairs. I don't want to be indelicate, but I tell people I wanted to be able to go get a beer in my boxer shorts because the kitchen's downstairs now. So. Because otherwise you have to get totally dressed just to come out and go down the stairs. No, we don't want to do that. So we redid our space downstairs. We've done a few things Thanks to the inn, since we've been here in the infrastructure area, so to speak, the blue tarp outside, I apologize for that. That's the remnant of replacement of the boilers downstairs. We still have one more piece to do with that before we can close that up, and we're going to reorient the pipes and everything. It won't be quite so industrial out there. But we do have that kind of stuff. We've done some work on the pool, converted to a saltwater pool system, which will make it a little easier to maintain, and it's also a little friendlier on bathers, I understand. You all have some insight into saltwater pools. No? Okay.
I wondered if she saw it. I don't know where it is.
Well, it's the pool's out here. We've done some stuff upstairs. We have new. Well, we actually had a couple sets of new towels and stuff like that, but we're trying to kind of upgrade things a little bit as we can. So. Shirley will have some things to say about her time here. She lived in room number 4 here for a long time, I understand, and again, she has probably more better stories than I do to tell. A lot of people ask about the haunting here. That's a big subject, and people regularly will come in and say, "Place on it." We had 2 ladies stay with us a while back who were very insistent that they not be in any room that had pictures or paintings of faces. They didn't want any eyes in their room. That was a new one to me. Something about that bothered them to have eyes. So, as it happened, that wasn't a problem. But I tell people that no spirits have introduced themselves to us yet, and so we have no good stories for ghosts. I'm leaving the possibility open, but because who knows? But we certainly are not expecting it. We don't regularly have. There may be a mouse or 2 around, but that's it.
Are you waiting for the spirit to move you?
Yeah. That's the ghost thing. There were a couple of deaths in the house, and so, like I said, who knows? But Ruth also says that any spirits know that we are happy here and we like the place and we're going to take care of it, and so they are not disturbed and they're keeping quiet. Maybe that's valid too. I'd be happy to answer questions, and also if you, those of you who would like to walk upstairs when we're finished, feel free. If the door is open, feel free to walk in and check out a room. If the door is closed, don't walk in and check out. Honor closed doors.
How many rooms do you have available?
We have 11 rooms here. 11 rooms counts a 2-room suite, which we actually can make into 2 rooms. So we have had a couple of occasions where we used 12 beds, 12 rooms. The one room has a pull-out couch in it. That's where the family is. That won't be available, but it's